What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check. I did not plan on doing this video this early. I was planning on saving this video until after Battleground, but it is ridiculous o'clock in the morning. I can't sleep. I've got the notes, so I figured, maybe I'll do a video, talk to you guys, get some fun into my evening, and then, go and pass out. Maybe that'll work. It seems once every year, once every, couple of months, the debate rages. And I've done videos on this before, but the debate rages as to whether WWE should bring back the Cruiserweight division. I did a video on this last year, taking a look at the current roster and saying, look, just with these guys we have right now, you could have a great Cruiserweight division and you wouldn't even have to add anything to the roster. Now, since then, I've heard various haphazard excuses / reasons / arguments against bringing back the Cruiserweight. Why? Minute into the vid, beeps and texts, gonna start getting back into those t-shirts, fuck off, I'm doing a video. But lost my train of thought. Absolutely. Got a bunch of really lame arguments as to why we shouldn't have a Cruiserweight division. There are only three that I can think of off the top of my head because that part isn't in my notes. The first is, the last time we had a Cruiserweight division, it wasn't unique. It wasn't like the X division. It wasn't like the Cruiserweight division of WCW. It was just smaller guys having WWE matches. To which I say, there's no indicator that if we had a Cruiserweight division now, they would run it the same as they did last time. Much to the same argument, last time they ran it, they eventually made it into a joke and they gave it to Hornswoggle, da-da-da. So, again, last time they ran it, it became a joke. What's to say this time around? We have a completely different set of agents in the back and reps, and Triple H is getting his hands into things. We have better talent, and hopefully we won't give it to Hornswoggle again. Again, it's just the same argument again. It's why would you assume that the way it was before that failed, they would try that exact same formula again. The third is that WWE would have too many belts if they had a Cruiserweight division. Now, the last time they had a Cruiserweight division, there were a lot more belts than there are now. I mean, not necessarily the Cruiserweight division, but if you go back a little bit, there was a period of time where we had 2 world titles, 2 women's titles, 2 tag team titles, 2 mid-card titles, etc. Right now, we have 1 world title, 1 tag title, 1 women's title. We have 2 mid-card titles, but I'm going to address that shortly. We could definitely have a Cruiserweight division. It's like saying there's 2, 3 singles titles, so you shouldn't have a tag team championship division. It's a different division. You have 3 titles that singles can go after. You only have 1 title if you create this that cruiserweights can go after. You only have 1 title that tag teams can go after. It's not like there's a mid-card tag team division championship. There isn't. The other big part about that being is now that it is once again the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, guys like Rey Mysterio and etc. It's I'm only going to say this once because I only have to say it once to get me heat. The only reason Rey Mysterio got a world championship in WWE or anywhere else is because Eddie Guerrero passed away. That's not me being vulgar. That's not me disrespecting Eddie. I have a lot of respect for Eddie. In a completely different kind of way, I have a whole lot of respect for Rey. But facts being what they are, Rey Mysterio won the championship off of a storyline based on Eddie Guerrero passing away. Very large number of various stories that say that Eddie Guerrero himself would have been in that spot if it was not for him passing away and Rey Mysterio taking that spot just because he's his friend and whatever. But heavyweight championship for the heavyweights, Cruiserweight championship for the cruiserweights, and it would give diversity. I mean, guys, you might want to shit on TNA. I've shit on TNA quite a bit. You'll notice I don't do very many TNA reviews on this their channel. If I did retro reviews, I don't think I would review much WCW, but the one thing I would do, and I would emphasize, would be the Cruiserweight division and the X division, just because it's that something else. It's that variety. I mean, you can have the world title scene, the Intercontinental title scene, and the U.S. title scene, but they're all heavyweight guys for the most part going after belts. Sheamus is a heavyweight. John Cena is a heavyweight. Whoever wins the Intercontinental Championship is probably going to be a heavyweight. It's probably going to be Cesaro or... Oh, Sheamus gets the double championship. The only thing I can say, if I can say anything about Battleground this weekend, the only way I will accept Sheamus winning the championship at the in the Intercontinental Championship Battle Royal is if they use that as an opportunity to unify the mid-card titles. Then you've only got one mid-card title. Then you've got absolutely no excuse to not acknowledge your cruiserweights. Now, last time I did this, I wasn't pulling from very many resources. I was pulling strictly from what was already on the WWE roster. This year, because I've done a little bit more, I'm not patting myself on the back by any stretch of the imagination, but I've gotten a little bit more extensive this year. And I just want to show you guys. I want to show you guys, and I want to show the WWE, ha ha ha, like they're watching. I'm not delusional like other people and actually think that WWE watches my videos. I'm sure they don't. But I want to show the type of diverse and exciting cruiserweight division you could have right now. Last time I did this, I wanted to show you what we have right now. This year, or this time around, or this chapter of the argument, I want to take this in 3 steps. I want to show you the cruiserweight we could have the cruiserweight division we could have right now, we could have in the future, and we could have if we recruited it. 3 separate stages, and I'm going to get to what those 3 stages are in a second. We're first going to start with what we have right now on the WWE Raw, SmackDown active roster. Now, a cruiserweight. Go on Wikipedia, and whether it's WWF or WCW, definitions, distinctions, whatever you want to call it, the benchmark for a cruiserweight is anybody under 225 pounds. So that's my only criteria. Now, not everybody on this list, I will say right off the bat, not everybody on this list is a main event superstar. Some of them are jobbers, some of them are comedy acts, but every division needs that. I mean, the Intercontinental and U.S. Championship title scenes had Santino Marella in them for a long time, Zack Ryder, etc. Now, that being said, not everybody on here is a main event player. You don't need it. You can have some jobbers, you can have some mid-card cruiserweights and some high-card cruiserweights, but this, what I have here right now, with 225 being the only distinction, the only prerequisite to get into the cruiserweight division, this is the division we could have. Now, the number one, obviously, on anybody's hit list, even mine, is going to be Rey Mysterio at 175 pounds. Rey Mysterio, ideally, would oversee the beginning of this division. He would, you know, maybe even carry the championship as it first comes in, pass it on to the next new superstar, and then maybe go in a backstage booking capacity, because Rey Mysterio is mined for the business and mined for cruiserweight matches specifically, and how they work with that high-flying or that lucha style could contribute a lot behind the scenes, along with guys like Jamie Noble and Billy Kidman, and I believe you have Joey Mercury in the back as well. Guys like that go that high-octane, high-spot, high-excitement style. Let Rey Mysterio get the division started and then hand it over to the younger talent, but Rey Mysterio is definitely in there. Adam Rose at 221. If you want to bump the limit to 222 pounds instead of 226 pounds instead of 225, you could have the Ayatollah of rock and roll, Chris Jericho. At 212 pounds, you have the master of the peep show, Christian. At 210, you have that good, solid B-plus player in Daniel Bryan. At 225, exactly, you have one of the best superstars on this coming Battlegrounds fight card, Dean Ambrose. Their weights aren't listed on WWE.com, but I'm going to guess that they're under 225. Los Matadors, or Primo and Epico if they want to go back to their original names. Now, branching off from that, if they wanted to do a comedy bit and acknowledge that Hornswoggle is a former Cruiserweight champion, he could go out and brag and get his ass kicked again by El Torito. We could have another like pre-show match or whatever. It wouldn't be a big thing. Don't give him the belt again. I'm not advocating that, but you could have that and have a little bit of a funny moment. The show-off Dolph Ziggler at 213, Heath Slater at 216 is funny. Heath Slater is a good jobber. He's a good guy to go in there and take offense and be ragdolled, which in a cruiserweight, high-flying, high-stakes, high-risk capacity, you do need. along with somebody like Dolph Ziggler. Hunico, who's currently playing Sin Cara, who comes in at 205. Here's the funny part. The character of Sin Cara, according to WWE.com, is 180 when Hunico is listed at 205. So I don't think they've quite fixed that little glitch in the system. Kofi Kingston, yes! Alex, your boy can have a belt that's not a mid-card belt. Moving on. My boy, The Miz, the awesome one at 220 pounds. R-Truth at 220 pounds. Doesn't exactly fit the Cruiserweight style of fighting, but again, he's a good, strong character. He's entertaining. He could be a guy that gets beaten while a new talent is being established. Seth Rollins, who is running roughshod and going for the World Heavyweight Championship right now with that Money in the Bank briefcase. If he suffers a fall from grace or a change of direction, he could be a key player in the Cruiserweight division. Newly relabeled, newly re-gimmicked Cody Rhodes as Stardust coming in at 220. Seth Rollins at 217, by the way. Stardust coming in at 220 could be an interesting thing. And Zack Ryder, once again, for the comedy value, especially now that we don't have Santino Marella anymore, that sort of lighthearted, doesn't really matter if he wins or loses because the crowd's going to have a good time. That kind of thing. Zack Ryder could definitely fit into a division like this as well. And because he has low card notoriety, but everybody still knows who he is, and a lot of people remember when he thought he was going to get that little joke of a push, and we have a soft spot in our hearts for Zack Ryder. So when Zack Ryder goes out and tries hard, he'll get cheered, and then he'll get his ass kicked by somebody like Seth Rollins, let's be honest. Now, that's what we have. Now, next thing we have to do is lay the groundwork for what we're about to have. And that's where I turn to NXT. NXT is developing a ridiculous amount of great talent. Unfortunately, a lot of them are smaller guys who I don't have a lot of hope for in the WWE main card. And that's not because they're not talented. It's because I don't see John Cena dropping a World Heavyweight title to somebody like Corey Graves or Sami Zayn. Not to say that they don't deserve it, but I don't see WWE doing it. They're not built like The Rock. They're not built like John Cena. They're not WWE's definition of what a champion looks like. But, and this is a big but, this would be their place to shine. 110%. Now let's start with two people that should have never been demoted to NXT, and that is Cape Town Werewolf, Justin Gabriel, and the King of Hearts, or Prince of Hearts, or whatever the hell they're calling him now, Tyson Kidd, hashtag Natty's husband. Justin Gabriel coming in at 213, and Tyson Kidd coming in only at a whopping 195. Two strong workers that are already, even though they're from NXT and they're keeping up with all these young, high-flying, small guys from NXT, they're still well established in the WWE. People know who they are. Tyson Kidd has the Hart family lineage and legacy, and Justin Gabriel, while I want to see him on the main roster, has a huge history with NXT / The Nexus / being in the core with CM Punk, rubbing elbows with CM Punk. Oh, yeah, no, not CM Punk, Wade Barrett, but still. And then being taken back to NXT, which still pisses off a lot of people, including me. People know who he is, and he's got that in spades compared to anybody else on NXT, for sure. Now, this would be the launching pad to take these guys off NXT and put them back on the main roster where they belong. But they would quickly be joined by the current NXT champion, who is amazing, the man that gravity forgot, Adrian Neville, at 194 pounds. CJ Parker, the annoying hippie recycling guy. Do you even recycle? He would not be recycling the championship. I'm sure he would keep that and reuse it and reuse it and reuse it. I'm being really corny because it's really late. You guys got to bear with me. But he's only 220 pounds. Corey Graves, who I've labeled as a well off in the future, next incarnation of CM Punk, if you will, only comes in at 208. Kalisto, which I haven't seen a whole lot of, but what I have seen I really like, 170. The guy could be flying around the ring. Sami Zayn has worldwide exposure. Everybody knows what he can do, and everybody will be clamoring for him to have a championship to call his own once he gets up to the main roster. Tyler Breeze is the perfect heel. Prince Pretty could use another piece of jewelry, another piece of bling to complete his outfit. Oh yes, Xavier Woods, same thing. Really high-octane, entertaining guy. These guys are being primed in NXT right now. These guys are not going to be in the World Heavyweight Championship picture. I mean, I hate to say that. I really do. I really wish we lived in a world where I could believe that any of these guys was going to be a world heavyweight champion in the next 5 years, but I don't see it. But they could take this ball, run with it, make it their own, and, you know, show that changing of the guard. You know, everybody in WWE from now on has come through this amazing WWE developmental / NXT / Full Sail system, and, like, you know what? If we can't have a belt, goddammit, we're going to make a belt for ourselves, and we're going to show what we can do. We're going to show that we are going to be different. We're going to show that our TNA is not the only company out there that can have an extreme division. Now, speaking of TNA, I told you this was coming in 3 stages. What we do have, what we will have. Now we get to what we could have. Anybody that watches multiple companies, anybody that watches WWE along with TNA, along with ROH, along with Shikara, PWG, IWGP, you know, even if you're Mark Pearson and watching a bunch of the shit rests over on the other side of the country there, everybody says the same thing about at least one guy or another that they like in another company. I would love to see those guys get the recognition that they deserve on the main roster, on the big stage of the WWE, but WWE wouldn't have anything to do with them. You know, Samoa Joe, or, you know, anybody. Samoa Joe comes off the top of my head for some reason. But, I mean, there's a lot of guys that I would love to see in TNA, or at least guys that I knew from TNA that have now gone to ROH, or guys that other people have told me about. The one thing I will say, I will admit my ignorance a little bit. I made reference in my last video to Prince Devitt and Kenta, and Kevin Steen. I know Kevin Steen's not a cruiserweight by a long shot. I don't know the size of the other 2 guys because I've only seen them in photos. So if anybody can fill me down in the box below if these guys fit in the brackets, I will definitely include them in these potential brackets as well. I don't have that information on hand at my fingertips, so I wasn't able to include it. So to all the Kenta and Prince Devitt fans, I didn't leave you out on purpose. I just don't have the necessary, I can speak, I swear, information to definitively add them to this list. But you want to talk TNA, ROH / guys that have just been other places that I really don't know where they are currently. Some of these guys aren't in ROH or TNA right now. They're just kind of floating around in the wrestling world, but they're out there somewhere, and if WWE had a cruiserweight division, they could definitely be in that cruiserweight division. We have Austin Aries, the greatest man that ever lived, at 210. Davey Richards from the Wolves at 202. DJZ, who I don't care what you say about his gimmick, is an entertaining guy and he's great in the ring. Eddie Edwards, the other half of the Wolves. Eric Young, the former TNA champion. Eddie Edwards at 214. Eric Young at 225 exactly. Also at 225, my boy, Jeff Hardy. This would be the perfect launching pad for a Jeff Hardy comeback. Oh yes. Manic at 200 pounds. Robbie E, again with the, you know, comedic value of Robbie E at 201. Sonata just skimming by that 225 mark. Tigre Uno. Tigre Uno is the only superstar on the TNA roster that doesn't have a weight listed on their website. But I'm going to guess he's a little fucker. He was trained by Rey Mysterio. He'll fit in the cruiserweight division somewhere. AJ Styles at 215. Amazing Red at only 150 pounds. Brian Kendrick. Does anybody know what Brian Kendrick is doing right now? But 184 according to the alumni page of WWE and TNA. Chris Sabin at 205. The Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels at 224. Max and Jeremy Buck at 178 and 172 pounds respectively. And what I think could be a real dark horse in a division like this, Frankie Kazarian at 215 pounds. Guys, I just want to run this down. Now that you've had all the explanations and all the weights and all the numbers and all this, what I want to do is say it very, very simply. If WWE decided to have a cruiserweight division tomorrow, their cruiserweight division alone, let alone their tag division, which is already set, their women's division, which is getting better, their mid-card division, which is in a little bit of a shambles with the leaving of Wade Barrett, and their main event scene, which is as it always is. Put all that aside, you could add a cruiserweight division that looks like this. Rey Mysterio, Adam Rose, Chris Jericho, Christian, Daniel Bryan, Dean Ambrose, Los Matadors, Dolph Ziggler, Heath Slater, Hunico, Sin Cara, Kofi Kingston, The Miz, R-Truth, Seth Rollins, Stardust, Zack Ryder, Justin Gabriel, Tyson Kidd, Adrian Neville, CJ Parker, Corey Graves, Kalisto, Sami Zayn, Tyler Breeze, Xavier Woods, Austin Aries, Davey Richards, DJZ, Eddie Edwards, Eric Young, Jeff Hardy, Manic, Robbie E, Sonata, Tigre Uno, AJ Styles, Amazing Red, Brian Kendrick, Chris Sabin, Christopher Daniels, Max Buck, Jeremy Buck, and Frankie Kazarian. Tell me you cannot make a good money-making Cruiserweight division out of all of that. I'm not here to make an argument. I'm just here to point out the obvious and point out the potential that is sitting right on our doorsteps that nobody has yet seen fit to open the door to. Anyways, this has been, I guess, the Great Cruiserweight Debate, version 2014. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I really, really do want to get some thoughts down in the box below. I know I'm rambling. As I say, the whole... it's the same excuses I have for every rambling video. It's ridiculous o'clock in the morning, and I'm about to go to bed. But yeah, share all your thoughts down in the box below. If there's anybody I've forgotten, if there's anybody from some other league that I don't know but that you think should be on this list and should be in this fictitious WWE Cruiserweight division, please feel free to lay it down in the box below. If I get enough responses, I might make another video with an updated list. But I've spoken long enough. My voice is telling me I'm done. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Tell me everything you think Cruiserweight related. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye, guys.
You're a freak.